And it's another edition of Perspectives from the Sky on this fourth day of February 2023. So full moon tomorrow. Full moon will be exactly at 10:29 a.m. Pacific, 1:29 p.m. Eastern, and it's a Leo full moon. Remember, all new moons mean the sun and the moon are exactly in the same place. All full moons mean the sun and the moon are opposite each other. So in this case, with a Leo full moon, that means that the sun is in Aquarius and the moon is in Leo at between 16 and 17 degrees of Leo. So not an eclipse, full moon. But the people that are most affected by this full moon will be people that have planets between 13 and 17 degrees of fixed signs. Fixed signs are what? Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. What's the significance of fixed signs? Okay, we have cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Cardinal are the signs at the first of each season. Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. Those are the beginning of each season, cardinal signs. Fixed signs are the second month in the season. And then mutable signs, which are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, are the last month of the season. So when it's a cardinal sign and you have a lot of cardinal in your chart, it means you gravitate more toward initiating, getting things moving, motivating, starting. If you have more fixed signs, then it's more about settling in, making things secure, having things last, manifesting. If you have mutable signs, a lot of mutable signs, it means that you are someone who is good at the transition, or at least acclimated toward or naturally with the transition between one way and another way. In this case, one season and the next. If you're a mutable sign, you're the last sign. You're the transition sign between the previous season and the next season. So change is something that you can go with. If you're mutable, change you can go with. If you're a cardinal, change you can initiate and move. If you're fixed, hold things, manifest things, make things secure. That's those. So this is a fixed sign, Leo. Fixed fire. Cardinal fire, Aries. First month of spring gets things moving. Our new season, important new season. In a lot of ways, it feels like the beginning of a year, Aries. In a lot of ways, it feels like the beginning of an astrological year. Springtime begins. That's Aries. Leo is fixed fire, and Sagittarius is mutable fire. So fixed fire is just like you think. Look at that sun up there. That's fixed fire. The sun is the ruling planet of Leo. And so when you look at that sun, that represents Leo. See what I mean by fixed fire? That's pretty well fixed up in the sky, shining on you. And so those that have Leo, a lot of Leo in their charts, remember this is a Leo full moon. So it means Aquarius sun, Leo moon. Aquarius is up in the head, up in the mind, I should say, higher mind for the most part. And Leo is about the fire in the heart. Now, the heart has got two different compartments, so to speak, when we think about astrology. It's got the sun and it's got Venus. So Venus is the part of the heart where we touch others and others touch us. It's a relationship. It's receiving, giving. The sun, the Leo, is more about the expression, from the heart. So you've got the Leo energy, which is expression from the heart, and you've got the Venus energy, which is making relationship with the heart. So this one is the expression from the heart. So when you look at the sun, the ruling planet, it's like shining a light. Leo at their best shines a bright light. A bright light. And when it's confident, that bright light gets stronger. Downside of Leo is something that the sun doesn't do. Downside of Leo is looking in the mirror. How am I doing? If the sun had a mirror and a self-consciousness, it would say to itself, perhaps, wow, look at me. I'm shining all the light and all the warmth to everything on these planets that are circling around me. I am the center of it all. And I am the strength of light and warmth for everything. You see how Leos can go? If they look in the mirror and they start seeing how special they are, there's a need to be special. That's not a problem up to a certain point, right? If it gets over the edge, then it can become narcissism. But it's kind of natural for a Leo to a certain extent to feel confident. That's when it's at its healthiest, when it's confident, shining its bright light, lights up a room. But when it starts thinking too highly of itself, or, which is another ego problem, thinking too lowly of itself. Remember, ego problems are not just how great you think you are. Ego problems are if you think terrible of yourself. That's also an ego problem. So the best of Leo is just shine the light and don't evaluate yourself. You just shine your light, and it's a beautiful light that helps everybody, just like the sun does in the sky. So when it's a full moon in Leo, that means it's between Aquarius and Leo. Sun in Aquarius, moon in Leo. So Aquarius is that high-minded energy. Let's say that a Leo and an Aquarian go shopping for a car. So the Leo says, wow, check out that red, shiny, beautiful car. I want to get that beautiful car. Aquarius goes to the car lot and says, where can I get a car? How can I get a car? Which car is going to get me the good gas mileage that's going to be good for the environment and won't cost so much money? Can you find a hybrid for me or an all-electrical car? That's Leo and Aquarius. And this time we've got the sun in Aquarius opposite Leo. So Aquarius is very socially conscious. Socially conscious. He cares about what's going on in our social world. And Leo cares about oftentimes what makes them happy, what they can do to make other people happy, what they can do to have fun. Remember that shiny red car? So neither one is better than the other. I mean, Aquarius is more about equality, just like the Aquarius age we're moving into. It's about equality. It's about nobody being any better than anyone else. Leo can get into who's the most popular, who's the best, who shines the brightest light. They're both necessary. Did you ever go to a meeting, an Aquarian type meeting? Everybody's equal. There's a whole bunch of people in the meeting. No one wants to be any better than anyone else. No one wants to shine a light. No one wants to get things going. You can go to a Leo meeting and everybody's competing for the spotlight. But in a really good meeting, you got everybody in the meeting, all the equals, but you got somebody or some people within that meeting who can get things going, create some energy. Remember, the sun is reflective of Leo energy. Remember, in your body, the heart is reflective of Leo energy. Without the heart, you've got all these arteries and veins that aren't really going to be pumping any blood anywhere, are they? So The heart is what gets things going, necessary. So the only downside of Leo, as you can see, the only big downside of Leo is your ego. Put yourself up too highly, put yourself down too lowly. The downside of Aquarius, you're in your head all the time. You're in your head all the time. You're not in your body enough. You're not in your heart maybe enough. You're just up there in the mind, which is great. That's part of who you are. But you want to balance it off. Remember, moving into an Aquarian age, this is an important thing. Look at Aquarius. Aquarius is all of these technological advances that we've made in the world. Aquarius is our acceptance of everybody, those that are different. LGBTQ community, very Aquarian, very Uranian. The new world that we've got of fluidity around gender. Aquarius. What's the downside if we go too far with all this? We're forgetting of what natural biology is. So we need the balance. We need the balance. If we're taking kids at 7 years old and we're changing their identity, their gender identity, don't we have to have a discussion about that? Is that really good? Do we ignore the biology of that child? How it came into this world? Male or female? Well, maybe when it gets old enough, let it decide for itself if it wants to change genders. That's part of Aquarius, Aquarian new world we're going into. But we need to balance it with our natural biology and our connection to our Mother Earth. Very important that if we get too much up into all of the technology, we forget about being in our bodies, the health of our bodies, and the health of our Mother Earth. So we need the balance. And remember, we're going to need it more and more because this Aquarian age is getting stronger and stronger. Going to get especially strong after Pluto goes from Capricorn, where it's been for many years, 13, 14 years, and goes into Aquarius, where it's going to be for 20 years. It goes in at the end of March. And then it'll come back into Capricorn for a little while at the end of this year. And then it'll go back into Aquarius. And then in 2024, it actually goes back into Capricorn again a little bit. And then forward into Aquarius. And then stays in Aquarius until 2044. That's 20 years it's going to be in Aquarius. Very long period of time. What was the last time Pluto was in Aquarius? From 1777 to 1797. 1777 to 1997. Uranus was discovered during that time, 1781, during the last time Pluto was in Aquarius. And what was going on in the Earth when Uranus was discovered and when Pluto was in Aquarius? The American and the French revolutions. Aquarius, the revolutions. Aquarius, moving beyond the kings and the queens. Remember, moving beyond the ego. Everybody's equal. Moving beyond the kings and the queens. Moving to we the people. We the people, power of the people. That was those revolutions against the king, King George in England, the king in France. Moving to equality and to of the people, by the people, for the people. And what else is it going to be as we're there now? Diversity within unity. Diversity within unity. That means everything individual as it is, respected. Every individual for who it is. But at the same time, we look to make unity. What's the old way of making unity? Join my club. We're all the same. Join my nation. We want to make everybody like us in this nation. What's the new way? The new way is we respect the differences. And from there, we make unity. We've got LGBTQ people. We've got Black people. We've got white people. We've got old people. We've got young people. And in the world, we've got all these different nations, all these different cultures. Why do they go to war with each other? Like they're doing now. Ukraine and Russia. That's really not between Ukraine and Russia, everybody. It's between the Western world, wanting Ukraine to be with them, and Russia in the Eastern world wanting Ukraine to be with them. That's what that's really about. Trust me on that. That's what it's about. And we need to move beyond all that. We need to move into a world where all the differences in the people comes together in unity. We work it out. We don't war it out. We work it out. That's our new world. When did the age of Aquarius start? Winter solstice 2020. Winter solstice 2020. And it's going to go for 2,100 plus years. 2,160, they say, but it can be more or less depending. But around that amount of time. Pisces age started maybe 100, 150 years before Christ was born. That's significant around the time Christ was born, because the Christian religion and the Muslim religion, Muhammad came 600 years later after Christ. Those two religions have taken over this world. The majority of people in the world belong to one of those two religions. Now we're moving to the age of Aquarius. It's not going to be about organized religion so much. It's going to be about individuals making the connections to what they consider spirit to them. And there's a humanism that comes with Aquarius. Humanism. We're still going to want to be spiritual, aren't we? We're still going to want to connect spiritually. And we certainly want to take Christ consciousness with us. Christ consciousness, the empathy, the compassion, sensitivity to others, especially those who suffer. We want to take that with us, don't we? No matter what our spiritual connections are, we want to take that with us. Okay, what are we looking at going forward? By the way, Deborah will be coming on in about 15 minutes or so, and she's got a lot to talk about. She's got a meditation to give us. She wants to talk about Imbolc, by the way, which is an important marking point in our year. In fact, Mars is going out of Gemini in Cancer during Cancer time, or it's going to go into Cancer, in March. And it's been in Gemini since August. So it's been in Gemini for a long, long time. And even though it went direct a couple weeks ago, it's still in Gemini. And it's going to be in Gemini for a lot of February. And then in March, late March, it goes into Cancer. And also Mercury has gone direct. It went direct on the 19th of January. And Uranus went direct the same weekend as the new moon. So the new moon in Aquarius. So we've got all the planets are direct now. And they will be until the end of April when Mercury goes retrograde. So things are moving forward. I know I've talked to a lot of people, and some people are really like not feeling quite ready to go forward. I understand that. It just started. Everything just being direct. It just started not too long ago. Like a week ago. So take your time if you don't feel quite ready. But overall, everything is moving forward now. I want to talk about February. I've been looking at 28 degrees of fixed signs for quite a while now. And when something in the planets where they're moving it now and in the future, when they go up to that 20 degrees of fixed signs, I look for something maybe happening. Here's how astrology kind of works. Back in 2017, in August, there was a total solar eclipse in Leo at 28 plus degrees of Leo. That was important for the events that were going on at that time. That was when this culture war really started up. Donald Trump had just been president for a while at that time. January of 2017, he became president. And in August, there was a white supremacy rally because of a statue that was being taken down in Charlottesville, Virginia. A Confederate kind of statue. I don't remember exactly what that was right now. And so there was counter protests also at that time. And a woman got run over by a car and killed. And I remember the president at that time made some kind of a speech about how there's good people on both sides, something like that. And that kind of touched off this culture war, which has gotten really intense. In 2001, in January, we had the flooding of the Capitol in Washington, D.C., with people going into the Capitol, invading it, yelling about hanging Vice President Pence, about doing something to Speaker of the House Pelosi. So that really brought this culture war to a whole nother level. And then you have the investigations into Donald Trump and into the people that were involved in that raising of the Capitol in Washington, D.C. And that has turned out to be their findings in those committees over to the Justice Department. And we'll see where all that goes. And we'll see what happens. And we've also had a lot of candidates at the primaries this last year in November that said that the election in 2020 was not right, was not legitimate, that Joe Biden did not deserve to be elected because it was a crooked election. And a lot of people that ran at that time for office in November of last year believed that. Most of them lost, but they yelled pretty loudly. Those people are not done yelling. And there's a danger of violent civil war in our country. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, but there is a danger of that happening. So that 28 degrees, that's where that solar eclipse was, 28 degrees of Leo, fixed sign. The other thing that happened during that time was North Korea and the United States, Trump and Kim Jong-un were macho strutting with each other and trying to be friends and macho strutting and talking nuclear weapons. And that was pretty bad. Again, that 28 degrees being touched off, being triggered in February as Saturn in Aquarius opposes that position. Saturn will be at 28 degrees of Aquarius in February, later this month. The United States has its moon at almost 28 degrees of Aquarius. Joe Biden has his sun in Venus at 28 degrees of Scorpio. Our Vice President, Kamala Harris, has her Saturn at 28 degrees of Aquarius. North Korea has its Saturn at 28 degrees plus of Leo. Israel has its Mars at 28 degrees of Leo. What do I look to happen? And not just this February, could be this February. Just keep your eyes open for those places and events in February, this February. This will get later in the month. But then in July, Mars will be in Leo, Venus will be in Leo. And then in the future, there'll be other times. But those are the two times to look at this year, July and February, of things touching off. Interestingly, I also went back to Roswell when it happened in July of 1947. And I saw that the solar eclipse was at 28 degrees of Taurus, big sign. So somehow that weaves in with all these other things too. What's going to happen when it comes to other beings, star people from other planets? Something is brewing around that. And something more is going to happen around that issue. And it's not a mere coincidence that this is happening with the ETs and UFOs getting more in the spotlight. Remember the disclosures and stuff from the government have been happening? It seems to me there's a connection between what we're on the verge of potentially doing to our planet and to one another and the appearance of the ETs. There's some connection there. We'll see exactly what that means as the year moves on. March has a lot of aspects to it, including at the beginning of March, there'll be a Saturn semi-sextile Pluto on the 3rd of March. Why is that significant? It's the first connection of Saturn and Pluto since the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in January of 2020. What happened after that? The pandemic. Very closely after that was the pandemic, after the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. This will be and then a lot of other changes happened too with the economy and different things going on in the world since then, including the Russia-Ukraine war. So with Saturn semi-sextile Pluto, the first aspect that's made with one another since then, I expect there to be some kind of turning point late February, early March on a lot of different issues. Do I expect the pandemic to get worse or to come back with a ferocity? I don't. I hope I'm right about that. Then we go into April. By the way, Deborah's coming on pretty soon, everybody. April. Actually, in late March, there'll be Aries new moon number 1 in late March. And then Aries new moon number 2 on the 20th of April. And that one's more than just a new moon. It's a solar eclipse new moon at 29 plus degrees of Aries, right at the end of Aries. And it's the first of 2 eclipses because on the 5th of May, there'll be a Scorpio full moon, lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Taurus Scorpio. So expect those 2 eclipses to be powerful, especially that first one. That first one, which is the new moon in Aries, which means the sun and the moon will be conjunct in Aries. Jupiter in Aries will be conjunct that new moon also. Jupiter will be at about 25 degrees, not just 3 or 4 degrees away from being conjunct, exactly conjunct. So Jupiter will be strong in there too. So expansion around the Aries energy. And here's an important piece of that now. Pluto, having recently gone into Aquarius, will be making a very close square within a degree of being exact, a very close square to that solar eclipse new moon. And that Pluto in Aquarius is just recently a part of the Pluto return in the United States. And Pluto in the United States natal chart is its military-industrial complex. Military-industrial complex means military. It's military all over the world. It really is all over the world, everybody. And control of the economy in much of the world. We are moving into a multipolar world where empires, remember the Piscean Age started with the Roman Empire. No more empires in the age of Aquarius. Multipolar world, a world more of equals, diversity within unity. So I expect this Aries solar eclipse to be extremely powerful in relationship to the world economy and geopolitical structure. It should be extremely powerful. You can look for big changes to be happening in Israel, with the Palestinians, with Iran. You can look for big changes happening with Russia and Ukraine. You can look for big changes happening around taking a look at China and North Korea with Taiwan. Keep this in mind. Underneath all of that, there is this powerful world that's growing. You know people that are part of the new consciousness in the new world. There is no stopping it. You're a part of it. I'm a part of it. Deborah's a part of it. People all over this globe have been waking up to new ways at looking at themselves and our earth and our human family. Nothing can stop it. On one hand, you've got two parallel worlds going on. You've got an old world blowing itself up. You've got a new world. Open arms for everybody to be together in unity all over this globe. And nothing will stop it. That's where things are moving. Stay with your new consciousness. Stay with your faith and belief in this new world. It is happening. And let that old world go where it's going to go. Don't let fear overtake you as to what that means in your 3D everyday life. It will be okay. And the new world is going to be shining more and more all the time through the ashes from the world that's leaving us. Okay, well, I think we could use a little bit more of the feminine look at things, as Deborah is going to tell us more about Imbolc, which, by the way, just it's like pretty much. I think she says that it's not just on February 2nd, but it extends for the week. She'll tell us a little more about that. But it's an important time because, we talk about it. We talk about it. Yeah, Judy Ann, thank you for saying that. That's right. We need to dump the concept of us versus them in order to. That's part of the new consciousness. Is no more us versus them, us and them. Right above me. That's part of the new consciousness, right? Yin Yang symbol. And you can see over here on that side is the lightning. And on the other side, see if I can get it going. On the other side is a peaceful ocean view. And in the middle is the union of the opposites. Thank you, Judy. And that's where we're headed. So back to Imbolc. Deborah will tell us exactly what the time is, but it's a big turning point. They call it Groundhog Day in the modern world. Will the groundhog show us a shadow that tells us spring come in 6 weeks or less or more, when really it's an initiation time, moving more toward the light shining. I had really unbelievable breakthrough some years ago at initiation, right on that day. And a lot of other people have had wonderful initiations around Imbolc. And Deborah, I know, is going to tell us much more about that. So, Deb, I'm bringing you on. I know you're ready. And there she is.
I am ready. Hi, everybody. So, welcome.
How are you feeling?
Good. I'm eager. I have a lot of things I want to share today.
Okay,
so
good.
I'm pretty eager about that to share.
I'm going to kind of get out of the way.
Okay.
And let you take over the screen. And just do this. Give us 5 minutes at the end that we kind of come together and talk about
a few minutes at the end. Yeah, I just have to. I'll keep track of that.
Yeah, so we could talk about the next show and things like that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, Deb, it's yours. Oops.
Just you.
Okay.
So, hi again, everyone. So, I wanted to start. I have quite a few things I want to focus on in our time today. And the first thing is this sacred turning point of Imbolc. And so I'm going to talk about that for a while. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about altars and this place we're in the cycle of Venus. And I've also pulled some oracle cards for us today that I thought were really potent and revealing and very helpful. And I pulled them for you, for everybody. So, and we'll end with a meditation. So I don't know how many of you have ever celebrated Imbolc, but it's also called Candlemas, St. Bridget's Day. And it is one of the sacred turning points of the year in one of the Sabbats, it's called. So every year there's the 4 major turning points, which is the solstices and the equinoxes. And then the midpoints in between are what I call the cross quarter days. And those are also Sabbats. And those are, to me, the more mystical and more mystical ones because they're in between. And if you look at Imbolc, Lammas, Samhain, which is the ancestor time, and Beltane, they're more mystical, they're more inner, they're different. So this time of Imbolc is the midpoint in the northern hemisphere between our winter solstice and our spring equinox. And why I always say Imbolc isn't just the day of February 2nd. I believe we start feeling it, the night before, the day before, and through the whole, for at least a week. And really, you could think of between now and the equinox, we're kind of in this in between place going towards the rebirth of spring. So, Imbolc, the word comes from milk, and it's the time in the ancient Celtic times where this name came for it when the ewes would begin lactating. And so that's how it got its name. And it's also very much connected with the womb of Mother Earth and the first stirrings of the seeds within Mother Earth. And it's actually true that the seedlings just begin to stir a little bit. Now it's different in different climates, of course. And it's also known as a time when sap begins to rise up the trees. And so it's a turning point, even though it's not spring yet, but it's a midpoint between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. So it's that turning point that we start to notice, okay, what is stirring inside of me right now? Those little seedlings of new visions, new intentions for your life. And it's also a time, so in that we honor the goddess Bridget. And Bridget is a multi-dimensional goddess. She was the mother goddess of Britain for many years. I mean, for she's been that for years, is what I meant. She's an ancient goddess. And when the Christians came along, the Christian, nothing against the Christ or anything like that, but they built over goddess sites and pagan sites, they built their churches. And they also, when they came in, they took away some of the, what they did was they shifted the ancient goddess names often into being a saint. They canonized them as saints. And that was their way to appease the people who were lovers and beloveds of Bridget and other goddesses and gods back then. So Bridget is considered a maiden goddess. Some consider a triple goddess too, that she holds all within her, mother, maiden, and crone. But she brings in the springtime, and she's a goddess of the triple flame. And you'll often see her with flames around her. And the triple flames have to do with inspiration. She's the bard of all the poets. A lot of poets and artists would call to Bridget when they needed inspiration for their writing. She's like a muse. She's a muse goddess, but she's multi-leveled. So she's many different things. She was a goddess of the forge, which was smithcraft, like with the fire and alchemy, transmuting metals into something. And also she's also a goddess of healing and the healing arts, and connected with midwifery and herbal healing. And so besides her fiery nature, which is more that inspiration that we feel now, she's also very much connected with and known to be the Lady of the Lake, who brought forth Excalibur, the sword that Arthur used. And so she's multi-layered. And so she's also known to be the goddess who oversees the ancient healing wells and water. And it's that the water that comes from the womb of the mother, she oversees that. And she's also connected with the Isle of Avalon, which was known as the Isle of Apples. And it was an isle, a mystical isle in the other world. And it's known that Bridget had an apple orchard on Avalon in the Isle of Avalon and the Isle of Apples, and that the bees were known to go there to get their magical nectar to bring back. They would go to the Isle and to Bridget's apple orchard to bring back this nectar. So in a way, it's like this. It's symbolic of we're awakening this nectar, the nectar within us, of spring coming. So it's a really good time this time of year at Imbolc to cleanse your altar, cleanse your home, declutter, beginning your spring cleaning of, releasing the old, paying off debts, really realigning yourself. And it's also a wonderful time to bless your candles, bless your altars, reconsecrate your altars, build new altars to bring in your higher visions. And I'm going to talk about altars again in just a moment. And I just want to make sure there's nothing else I want to share about Imbolc. So the main thing is that to really notice what is stirring in your belly, in your womb, inside of you right now. That those first sparks of inspiration and new visions for this new year. And at the equinox is a time that you'll be drawn maybe to plant those seeds in the earth, just like we plant the seeds of our garden. So I'm going to talk about altars now, since this is the time of Imbolc. And it is a wonderful time to reconsecrate your altars. And it's also a time to reconsecrate your own sacred vows to your spiritual path. And just reconsecrate yourself as a body temple, as your body temple. Reconsecrate your life. So altars. Many of you may already have altars. Some of you may not, but I have many, many altars. And I just want to say, I sit in front of my altar every day, and that's where I connect spiritually. So you can see an altar as a place where you leave your ordinary reality and consciousness and you enter a divine sacred space. An altar is you're creating this sacred space. And I just read something one of my friends said that really resonated with me, that an altar is like a portal to the divine. And the more we energize it and sit before it and do our spiritual work, connect with our guides, our guardians, our higher self, the Mother Earth, the more power our altar has. And that power, that spiritual power and vibration grows as we nurture and feed that altar. So an altar can be as simple or ornate as you want it to be, but the most important thing is that it's created with intention, that everything that you place on your altar has symbolic meaning, and that there's an intention behind it. I always make sure my altars have the elements of water, earth, air, and fire. So, but you can make an altar for healing. Like, let's say you're going through something in your life and you need some healing. You can create an altar for that. If at the beginning of the new year, you can create an altar. You can create an altar for the cross quarter days. Like right now, it's Imbolc. You might want to create an altar for Imbolc with a photo or image of Bridget and flames and water to honor water and whatever spring Imbolc is for you. Maybe you put some bulbs that are getting ready to bloom. And same with spring equinox. You might want to create an altar for that time. You can also create an altar to honor a certain divine energy that you're working with. For example, I have an altar for Lakshmi, who I work with, and she brings abundance in life. And I also have altars devoted to the different beings that I work with. So Isis and Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary. So that's another thing that you can do with your altar. So, and you can also do an ancestors altar where you put images of your altar, sacred objects from your ancestors. So, but the main thing is that it's a sacred space that you create in your home, wherever you are guided. It could be on a shelf, it could be on a little table, it could be on the floor. You could also make an altar outside in nature. And it's a place where you come to commune with your higher self, with spirit, with your guides, with Mother Earth, with your own heart and soul. And you have intentions. You might do prayers. You might do oracle card pullings there too. You know, you might have oracle cards you put on your altar. So it's this sacred and holy place that just brings you right into a centered place. That's what it does for me when I sit in front of my altar. Even if I'm going through something difficult, it brings me into a more centered place. And I often have I might have essential oils at the altar too that I might use to anoint myself. And it just brings you into that sacred space for your life. So I encourage you to create or recreate or bless and consecrate an altar you might already have, or create a new one for this time of year, for the new year, for whatever it is that you need right now. So I'm going to now talk a little bit about the cycle of Venus. And so right now, I know I've talked about this before. Many of you may not know, but I've been studying this cycle of Venus in a class for the last 3 or 4 years and going through the whole cycle. It's a 19-month cycle. And what's important right now is we are in the sacral womb chakra gateway. So the cycle of Venus actually connects with the cycle of the myth of Inanna and her descent to the underworld. Because when Inanna went to the underworld, she passed through 7 gates, and she let go and released her outer life, her outer personality, her persona. And then she spent time in the underworld, and then she ascended up from the underworld, a transformed being, because she had gone through a death and a rebirth process. And then she rose up and passed through those gates again, where she regained new gifts and powers that were connected to like a new robe. So, and the cycle of Venus is very similar, as there's gateways when the Venus is in the morning sky, and then she goes into the underworld where she's not visible, and then she comes up and she's in the evening sky. So right now Venus is in the evening sky, visible in the western horizon right after sunset, so you can see her there. But what's significant right now that I want to talk about is the womb. So the womb chakra, whether you're a man or a woman, because men have an etheric womb and women have a physical womb as well as etheric, and also the sacral chakra. So this is a really good time right now to really tune into your sacral, your womb. And it's a time of focusing on healing. And I can attest that I've been going through this right now, really healing any lingering issues or layers around your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem. It's a time to clear old emotional patterns, because the womb is connected to the moon, the tides, the waters, the emotional body. So it's a time of cleansing right now and empowering yourself in your intuition, because the womb is also very much connected with our intuition and the cycles and the seasons of, and the cycles within us in our own lives. And as a woman, our womb cycle, our menstrual cycle. And so this is a really powerful time to really do some healing around that and connect with the womb of Mother Earth. So what I like to do is connect my womb with the womb of Mother Earth, and also with the cosmic womb, the Hunab-Ku, the galactic center, which is where all is birthed forth from the dark womb of the mother. So in our meditation, I'm going to do a short meditation, where I'll guide you to connect your womb. And the womb is also so much connected with Imbolc, because it's the womb where we start getting those stirrings of our visions, because the womb is the place of creation. It's a place that we receive and create from, and we birth from, whether you're a woman or a man. It's a birthing place. And so it's very much connected with Imbolc right now, as the seeds are stirring in our wombs. So before we do the meditation, I was really excited for the 3 cards that I pulled. And this is from the Work Your Light Oracle of Rebecca Cannon. And I just picked this oracle today. I have many oracles, but the first card, which I thought was so amazing, connected to what I've been talking about. And this one is Align Your Life. And so the guidance for this, and this is for all of you, is to really look at what is out of alignment in your life right now, what doesn't reflect who you really are, and to bring yourself back into alignment with who you really are. And, sitting at your altar is a way that you can do that, really just reflecting on what in your life is not in alignment for you right now. What doesn't reflect who you are and who you're becoming and your sacred intentions. And the second card I pulled, which I love, is Lemuria. And the meaning and guidance of this card was to remind us that no matter what's going on in the outer world, that there truly is a new earth being born, and that, the heaven on earth theme, the new earth, the new human, no matter what's going on, there's the new Lemuria being birthed. And Lemuria was a time in ancient culture where people lived in harmony. It was a very etheric culture. There was telecommunication between people, very intuitive, very feminine, a watery place. So this is just a reminder to all of us that no matter what's going on in the outer world right now, that truly we are in this powerful time on the earth of new beginnings and new life, the new earth, going to that time where there's unity consciousness, which is very much like the water. The water is like unity consciousness. So to just remember that. And then the third card that I pulled for us was Don't Dim Your Light. And what I thought was amazing about this card is it's so in alignment with the full moon in Leo tomorrow, because this is about wherever you are, don't dim your light, let your light shine. And there's a reminder that, like a flower, when you walk by a flower, the flower doesn't turn away or close or hide itself. So this is a reminder to don't hide yourself, don't dim your light, let your light shine, and notice the relationships and the places in your life where your light can shine, and notice when it doesn't shine or you feel like you want to dim, and what's that about? Maybe you need to make a change in that relationship. So I know we're almost out of time because Leo's going to come back. So I just want to do a short meditation with this womb sacral chakra crystal singing bowl. And if you would, just take a moment to go deep inside. Just close your eyes and just tune in to your sacral chakra, to your physical or etheric womb, whether you're a man or a woman, or whether you don't have a womb anymore. And just tune into your womb and just imagine a tap root from this womb that travels down into the womb of Mother Earth. And just feel how your womb is connected with her womb. And then imagine a cord of light from your womb chakra, your sacral chakra, traveling up through your upper chakras and all the way up to the center of our galaxy, to the cosmic womb, the black void where all stars and planets are birthed from. And just feel the power of the womb of creation, the womb of the Mother Earth, the cosmic womb, and just feel your own inner womb that has the power to create. And just notice what little seeds are stirring within your womb chakra, within your sacral chakra. What little seeds of new possibilities, new visions, new intentions for your life at this time of Imbolc, right before the Leo full moon, and just feel, what are my seed intentions? What is stirring within me? And you can continue to work with this all the way going to spring and beyond, really focusing on these seedlings inside that are stirring and what you really want to bring to life from your soul, from your womb space, and knowing that there's unlimited possibilities. And just feel that energy of the seeds of new possibilities. So thank you, everyone. And like I said, you can do this meditation on your own again, where you really tune into your womb, the womb of the earth, the cosmic womb, and your own seedlings stirring inside. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Deborah. That was really wonderful. That was really wonderful. Thank you very much. So we will be back. I don't think we'll be back in 2 weeks, Deb, because I think we have some visitors that are coming on the 18th.
Actually, they're not coming till later in the day. So.
Oh, okay, good. Well, then we will be back in 2 weeks. We'll be back on the 18th for our next Perspectives from the Sky radio. What do they call it? Radio show. You can see us. Radio/video show.
Radio video show.
Yeah, thank you. So I want to make this clear. You say New Earth, I say Age of Aquarius. Let's let people know we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, and I also feel like it's a new golden age, but they're all connected. The new golden age, the Age of Aquarius, the New Earth. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not exactly the same thing energetically, but it's the same passage that we're talking about.
Yeah, we're in a huge passage on our Earth right now.
Yeah, and this is a passage into the new world. So it was a pleasure being with you all. And Deb and I will be back in 2 weeks.
And since we have a little bit of time, we can just each say our websites. And I also wanted to let everyone know that pretty soon we will, I don't know, maybe in a couple months or so, have a new website, Spiritual Renaissance.
That'd be
and
nice.
We'll be rebirthing our Spiritual Renaissance Center in Sedona. And if anyone wants to reach me, you can reach me at Elelia, Elia, which is my spiritual name, at Gaia Sophia Temple of the Heart. And my website is Gaia Sophia templeoftheheart.com. And Leo, you can reach him at Leo Knighton Tallarico.com. And stay tuned for our website, Spiritual Renaissance. And Leo's email is solus, SOULUS, at AOL.com. So I hope everyone really enjoys the Leo full moon and feels that expansion. And I love the cards that came through for guidance today.
Oh, I love them too, Deborah. That was really, really nice, especially the Lemuria one. I really appreciated.
Yeah.
So everybody, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful full moon in Leo tomorrow. Have the fun of Leo. Everything's not serious all the time,
Yes.
Have a good time. Enjoy yourselves.
And enjoy Imbolc and creating your new altars and consecrating your sacred space.
Much love, everyone. Take care.
Much love to everybody.